The Bloody Revolt of 1595, when the Sultan faced his own army. On a freezing night in January 1595, fear and betrayal swept through Topkapi Palace. Just days after burying his father and executing his brothers, Sultan Mehmed III faced the unimaginable, a revolt by his own Janissary army. Once loyal protectors, they now marched with anger and hunger for power. This is the hidden story of blood and rebellion. When the Sultan's crown nearly fell. Stay with us as we reveal how this revolt shook Ottoman history forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. By January 1595, inflation and currency debasement had crippled the Ottoman treasury. Sultan Mehmed III, reigned from December 27, 1574 to January 16, 1595, had devalued the ulyaf, pay of soldiers, angering Janissaries and Kopkulu Sipahs. Meanwhile, costly wars against the Habsburgs and Safavids sapped state coffers. Public frustration grew as food prices soared. As the Janissaries' living standards collapsed, their loyalty frayed, setting the stage for the ultimate showdown, a confrontation between military elites and a cash-strapped court. After Mehmed III's death on January 16, 1595, his son Mehmed III ascended the throne and promptly ordered the strangulation of his 19 brothers, a horrific fratricide intended to secure his. This display of brutality further unsettled the empire. Mehmed's harsh methods alarmed both civilian and military elites. The Janissaries, already tense over wages, now feared palace instability. Rumors spread of dissent within the harem and factional clashes, adding fuel to public anxiety just days before the revolt erupted. By the evening of January 18, 1595, rumors circulated that the Janissaries were planning a protest. Their primary demand was the immediate payment of their overdue salaries, ulyaf. The court, still reeling from the transition of power, was slow to act. On the morning of 19th of January, Janissary representatives approached the Imperial Council, Divan, delivering an ultimatum: pay us or face revolt. Ministers attempted to stall, hoping to calm tensions, but the soldiers had reached their breaking point. As noon approached on 19th of January, discipline inside Topkapi Palace collapsed. Some Janissaries began attacking palace guards and breaking into food storage rooms. The harem women were terrified. Many locked themselves inside their chambers. Grand Vizier Sardar Farhad Pasha, overwhelmed by the chaos, failed to coordinate an effective response. Soldiers in other units joined the mutiny, looting parts of the palace. The heart of imperial power trembled as Ottoman rule seemed at risk within its own capital. In the early afternoon of 19th of January, a group of Janissaries opened fire near the Gate of Felicity, Babu Saadet. The noise sent shockwaves throughout Istanbul. Civilians fled the streets. Panic spread quickly across the Golden Horn. Rumors exaggerated the scale, with some saying the Sultan himself had been killed. In truth, Sultan Mehmed III remained alive but trapped in the inner palace, under siege by his own army. During the chaos, the ulama, Islamic scholars, intervened. Led by Sihul Islam Bostan Said Mehmed Afanda, they pleaded with the Janissaries to halt the violence, reminding them of their religious duty to obey the Sultan. Their presence briefly paused the fighting. Some Janissaries listened, but others remained furious. The scholars' mediation bought crucial time for the palace guards to regroup. However, peace remained fragile, hanging by a thread amid anger and confusion. Late on 19th of January, Sultan Mehmed III ordered trusted loyalists to mobilize auxiliary troops stationed outside Istanbul. Reinforcements began arriving from Üsküdar and Eyüp. The Sultan also authorized the release of emergency funds to pay the Janissaries' overdue salaries. This decision, though financially damaging, aimed to diffuse immediate tensions. Behind closed doors, Mehmed III ordered secret arrest lists prepared targeting the revolt's ringleaders once order was restored. By midnight, skirmishes between loyal palace guards and rebel Janissaries escalated. Clashes erupted near the Imperial Gate, Bab Humayun, and Alay Kasku. Blood stained the palace courtyards. By dawn on 20th of January, over 300 soldiers lay dead or wounded. Civilians caught in crossfire also suffered casualties. The standoff turned Topkapi Palace into a war zone. The Sultan's inner circle feared a complete overthrow and contemplated fleeing the capital. On the morning of 20th of January, the treasurer distributed the overdue wages. Janissaries lined up to receive their ulyaf. The atmosphere, though tense, began to shift. Some soldiers left the palace grounds, heading back to their barracks. The Sultan's emergency measures seemed to work. However, the Janissary leaders realized their bargaining power had peaked. Some began planning their escape while others feared future reprisals from the Sultan. In the following days, Sultan Mehmed III's forces quietly arrested over 40 Janissary ringleaders. By January 25, 1595, many had been executed inside Yedigul fortress. The Sultan sought to reassert his authority with swift justice. Public executions served as a warning to other military factions. Mehmed III's ruthlessness shocked Istanbul but restored short-term control. Yet, fear now lingered among the Janissaries about future purges. Though Mehmed III had suppressed the revolt, the rebellion exposed the fragility of his power. His reliance on emergency payments and harsh repression eroded long-term respect among the army. Mehmed's rule, 1595 to 1603, remained marred by fear of internal coups. His future policies became heavily focused on appeasing or controlling the Janissaries, a legacy of this night of treachery. After January 1595, the Janissaries became increasingly politicized. Their involvement in palace politics grew. They realized their capacity to influence succession and policy through force. This revolt marked the start of their long decline. Instead of focusing on military discipline, the Janissaries became a power broker within Ottoman politics, sometimes more kingmakers than soldiers. The revolt delayed much-needed reforms in the Ottoman army. Fearing further unrest, Mehmed III and his successors avoided restructuring the Janissaries. Military corruption spread. Training standards fell. The empire's ability to wage external wars suffered. Historians later viewed the 1595 revolt as the beginning of a century-long erosion of Ottoman military might. In the wake of the revolt, power gradually shifted from the Sultan to the Grand Viziers and the Divan. Mehmed III became more reliant on advisors like Damat Ibrahim Pasha and Sagalizade Yusuf Shinan Pasha. The Sultan, wary of further revolts, delegated key decisions to his viziers, altering the Ottoman political balance for decades to come. Historians later connected the 1595 revolt to the gradual decay that culminated in the auspicious incident of 1826, when Sultan Mahmud II forcibly dissolved the Janissary Corps. The events of January 1595 were the first major crack. The once elite soldiers had become a destabilizing force within the empire, no longer protectors but political agitators. The night of treachery on January 19, 1595 was not just a violent episode, It was a turning point that reshaped Ottoman political and military history. The Sultan's authority was shaken, the Janissary's role forever changed, and Istanbul bore witness to one of the most dangerous nights within palace walls. Its echoes would haunt Ottoman politics for centuries.